nga services akienda na munana katonyesa ibiri fama ankaboka hura kazina ako bano manye ntekanisa kurugira kimuhala St Jude wabaikirira mu studios ezensoro yenkurakurana jobo matiranka buli kirole kansobole kubanimba kwasenga ambiso batwalo maiso nentekanisa nyamurungi
webale muno tata kutangira kandi nayo twizire mwirirwaho muta abahuliriza mukama nabagonza Kristo ahaisibwe Yesu mukama waitu ahaisibwe kandi asimwe muno haliyo kali tukuramukize webale muno kuba hambeho za BBS kera na munana katonyeza ibiri fama eredi enganzi erediyo ya buloma gonza kuhuliriza mukairi nkakano habwe program enongi okwikiriza okulengesibwe program eno eroho ekusero obusagikibwawe no bwange kuhuliriza no musente nukwesobole kwikara ahambeho Gerald Majera tibemanya arali mazire kutamu studios hamno muheza wa mukama nagenda kuturamukiaho kandi waramara kuturamukiaho program eno ya mukama agiteka mu mikono ya mukama wayo amoti tutangirire webale muno kuyija moti
batyo webale muno Gerard arali abahuliriza aba radio BBS itenganzi 98 katonyeza ibiri amabara irakarebera ni Father Ruhanga Loisia sempakwe bucya eba moti
yes
nimbatangira kasube kabere karayira
3
weeks
yes
kumwire munanyowe
na bingi byokora
baitu njoire tuli hano mu studios kwenda baramujya muri yo muta abahuliriza barungi kibikiro kimukororoho hano mukaikuru wanjye nganzi mukaikuru unsangire pakanye yaije yandetera nabayebona bagamba ye Father turi hamu niwe mpura buri kiro nabandi baroko yakuba ninde mbahikaho next Sunday cya rero abahuliriza ba radio BBS abarungi program enungi muno abantu yebanyumirwa everybody saying yes uliomu agamba ego nambere bakali pakanyi kahona hoyima uzanka ho kuhona ejo yona muruho kubarora
bangoma kubarora
so katugene maiso na cya rero no kuteka program yiteno mikono ya mukama bokuberi yaye then tukimanye kandi turi ha YouTube abatari abayina masimu kagayito kugenda YouTube yaitu zoteka mu BBS ojya kubana uturora live ohondere program ebirungi ebiruho mwibara lisi twene lyo mwana nelya moyo muyikirire
amina
tatu murungi twenda kusima abwarwe bajorunu twenda kusima abwabyona twenda kusima abokuba muzaire murungi okateka program eno no kwitira nege nayitwe bucya kabana bawe oyongero kutuhitura kutwegesa kutumanyisa kutuhabura kutuye mucyo mbuomezi baitu obokwikiriza ko muzaire murungi kabucya bucyo kwakora abana akayire kayikara na abana be cyarero wagamba kanyikare na abana bange nindaba omu kwatu cyange cyo redienu tukusaba mukama mukusima kuno tukusaba tuherezo mugisa gwawe abahuririzo baherezo mugisa gwawe ture kurunyi turira kaliya utahurira kaliya Father none lyonde wena batugurira kaliyawe abakigenderwa cyawe kacyomanyire abwaitu omukasumi kana kuturima ebyo natubisabire from Kristo mukama wetu
amina
mwibara lisi twene lyo mwana elya moyo mwikirire
amina webale muna moti jasi kagambuka mu kwijukya abantu baruhanganye na ba St Jude Paris nga buli kya katano omwire buno bwa kalema esaha 11 kutandika na saa 10 kutandika na saa 10 tubano kwega ni batwegesa umulingo gwo kutwaza mekisibo kino kandi esaha 11 turubata umuhanda gwo musalaba kutandika 11 umuhanda gwo musalaba then cyakana enganjani za Yesu bana misaro ebagyaho ombwire buno bwekisibo tukusaba abantu ba mukama twekambire za misa tubana yukurwa kya balaza kwika kya mukaga akutarika ne sahemu kukanga sahemu nekichweka ija obe na Kristo omukaire kano rubata nawe umbwire bwa kalema nawe aja kurubata naiwe Father ngonza tusime ba Kristo abakwekamba kuleta esente za pevwa nkuro mulimo ne kurubata nuko ekisabo nebindi byona compound enyirire kurungi mwebale muno mukama bongere nensagi abalyoko mwebale muno ngoza kusima na Saint Andrea kawe ikatandika mwebale kutama mani abegi nkabarura basemerwe kiricyo kubanza bagamba eno malisomero no barabani bakyale etakaterekere kubati bakurani bega abegesa ne bonyine faza waitu Leonard Atenyi webale muno kyatiraho kwenu master murungi muno abana ni basima
bari mu kinana senior
1 kinana senior 2
those are two streams already bakugenda mu kenda bakarora bayina bayigesa
abarungi kandi bakuruga setandria kawa bayima bakwijaga ni baha lessons ati muije mutungo mutindo ati father kiro kino mukamagambire ugambire abantu kiki
moto
leo
point ya charero. My dear listeners, today as usual I normally would like to have a presentation in English, so that we cater for both sides, in Euro and also in English. We would have loved to be in other languages like Karul and Rupwara, but for the sake of time and definitely we find ourselves in a tool, but we are together in whatever we are having.
Abahuliriza father kusaba na tugana sabikiganyiro abatakusobora kure ndimi zine ibiro rujungu tuteka muno rugwara n'indimi zindi bayitu abo kuba kaire kandi kamara no wesanga tukoleseze ndimi ibiri zonka bayite kimanyire omutahi akuhura ja kusoborogo atahulire.
And today God is talking to that person who is called a Christian, perfectly a Christian, but another person who's not a Christian will also benefit very perfectly well through this.
Wow, this is beautiful. Nguruhanga agonze kubaza nayo muntu owe akwe arukwetu wa Kristo akurundi umuhondezi wa Kristo nayo watali muhondezi oja kutungamo kyamani mona.
Now today we are focusing on desert experience. And I want to explain, my dear listeners, this is very practical where we are at this moment. Desert experience in our lives.
Okay, kiro kino mukama muhairo mutwe omurungi muno ngo obomezi obomukyeya ekiyo kimanyire ekyana halo musana gwa kire kimo ebikora bya kunkumuka
desert experience
obwire bomukyeya tubisanga mu matemba mu Sudani mu Somalia mu irungo.
And this is figurative but also very practical.
Kino kisasi amo bomezi kindro bomezi baitu kirungi muno.
Now okay, let me put this way straight. But I want to focus on desert experience, but I wanted to say Lent and desert experience. I know all Christians at this moment, all serious Christians, all Christians, all serious and true Christians are in Lent at this time.
Go ango agonza kireta ati obwire obwakalema no bwire obwomukeya rundi
buri mukristo buri muntu akutoka mukristo ari mu kintu kisibo
bwire buno na isiba na yesenge.
But we want to go deeper into that.
Ngubule matale mu irungu tukwenda kutaha mu byamani mono.
Lent and desert experience.
Akaire kakalema na akaire ko mu irungu.
For the Christians, those who are Christians, whichever denominations, and those who are not Christian, we know that in life there is always a moment of a stopover. Okay, let me use this way. That in when we are writing, when we are in school, we have what we call punctuation marks. There is where you put a comma. There is where you put a full stop. There is where you put a question mark. All of those are very practical in our lives.
Anga abomezi waitu omunsi muno bwina hakaire kenkango yatuhaungu tukantu kyasoma begesa abantu hage kaguzo halina hali okuteka kano ijoro halo kuteka katonyeza halo kuteka budoti bukwaukana omubomezi wetu naito tubanabo.
And so in our life as we go on in our lives, we have what we call punctuation marks moments.
Ngono mubomezi wetu tufuna tubanakaire ako kwekaguzaho.
For example, we have where it is a stopover. You must stop and say, pop, everything stops.
Twekyo kurora ho akaire ko abukabaka hoireyo runda ko kwemerezamo buli kimu ne kiemera.
Then we have those moments where we put like a comma. Let me stop a bit.
ngwala akaire kandi oboyemera mukataito baitu orugendo rukyagenda mumaiso.
Oh, sure. When you have your car, there is a time those who are driving the vehicles, there is a time you say, let me have a stopover.
Abaine motoka tugira akaire no gamba lekambanze nyemere. You
have driven a long journey and you said no. For the sake of this vehicle and for the sake of the health journey, let him put a stopover.
Obundo buvuge rugendo reno gamba habo bomezi wange kambanze nyemere mumpumule mu.
And so also God does with us this way, that in life as believers he always gives us a special moment of a stopover.
Na mukama ruhanga nuko akora itwa abantu be alaha kaire katwa akokwemera amuna yemereze bintu byona.
And he gives this as a golden chance to see well, to perceive well, to look at ourselves, to see our journey as we move and reach to and then begin our journey again.
Atuhakaire kanu nkomugisa ogwezabu nuko twetunuliremu hanyuma tuketulubate buhyaka.
So now as believers, God has designed that we have this moment of Lent and desert experience.
Nkabaikiriza ruhanga atuhakaire akokuba mwirungu no kubaho mu kisibo.
We are going to see, okay, this Lenten period definitely, I don't want to go deep down into it, but I want to concentrate on what you call desert experience.
Agenda muno kutunuliramu obomezo bo mwirungu.
Now, do you know why, do you realize why many of our families are in chaos?
Hawaki, mumanyire nga amaka gaitagakira gatabangukire.
That would be a desert experience.
Ako kalikaire ko mwirungu.
Do you know why sometimes our journeys and our programs are not successful?
Omanyire hawaki, enteka nizaitu zitakurubata kurungi.
That would be part of your desert experience. Do you realize that some of us, our lives are not okay? Physically, spiritually, economically, they are not okay. That's the desert experience that we are in.
Okimanyira habwako bomezi bwaitu butali kurungi omunsa hakasente kahamo obomezi bwokwetunulira bona buli aho omanya hatolo mukiye yarondolo mwirungu.
Now, the moment you understand very well, then beautiful things are going to happen.
Obokyetegereza ngebi byone bikubaho omanya kike kigenda kugarukaho.
In Matthew chapter 4 verse 1 to around 11,
Matayo esura ina orukaro kubanza kwikaro 11 aho,
maybe more and again in front there,
rundi no kweyongerayo,
we are going to see Jesus giving us this experience.
Tugenda kutunira Yesu na atuha kiyarabiremo.
And he passed through this to teach us himself.
Akabiramo binu okutwegesa itwa abahondezi be.
Now, we have those moments where in life we are arid, we are dry completely. You are dry. When I talk of dryness, I'm not meaning you don't have water, you don't have whatever, but you find your life is meaningless. Your life is very threatening. Your life or your life experience. That's what we call desert experience.
Alakaire kosango muntu okuraba ombwiro bugumangaine. Ebintu bitakyakuru batira kurungi. Ako nikakaire koba mukiyeya rundo mwirungu.
Yes. And this one, Jesus says this is a favorable time. Jesus uses the word favorable time.
Kristo akutugamba nkanu kakaira akarungi. Akaira akarungi.
Imagine what you are passing through is the worst moment in your life, but Jesus says it's the most favorable time again.
Lengesani zorole olomubuzibu. Ola hakisika baitu mukama agamba nikakaira karungi ako.
Have you ever felt a time when you are lonely in life?
Kaba ijuka hakaire ko kabuli wenka otaina mukonyezi wena mbomezi wa.
Have you ever reached that moment where everyone doesn't understand you and you feel you are alone completely? Everything's boiling in your head. Nobody's understanding you. You are just that way.
Okabaho nakaire ko warabiremu no sanga buli muntu takwetegereza nebyo kubaza tibabikenga hatoli wenka.
At one moment might be even your economic situation or your even physical body situation.
osobola kuba okulaba ombuzi bwe sente toyina kasente rundo bwomezi bwawo tibukwetegereze bolaawo.
And this would be at the time where even some of us are in that the same.
Abandi omulito no tukugamba hati mulo mukaire nkakano.
Now, Jesus giving us this moment of Lent through what the desert experience, he wants to teach us and to uplift us and to mold us and to make us more stronger and more courageous. At the end of the day, that we must be victorious. That's the beautiful thing.
Kristu akutwaya mukaire kano akekisibo alo mukutwegesa niko asobole kutuhindura tufoka abantu abarungi nyenkya abahikirire
kandi abasinguzi. Now, what is when Jesus goes into the desert, he's alone.
Kristu agenzere mu irungu ali wenka.
We are saying it, we are reading Matthew chapter 1. We are not going to read everything, definitely. Most of you have been where you are, and that's beautiful.
Yes.
And this is why we are reflecting on that. Jesus goes into the desert and faces temptation. Maybe we could read.
Kristu agenzere mu irungu ali wenka kandi atungire ebyohebo.
Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert.
That's why
we are beginning desert experience.
In
order to be tempted by the devil. You hear. And when he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And approaching the tempter, said to him, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread."
Obuyasembereiro omohi yamugamba borabo ni mwana wa ruhanga hindura amabale gano gafoke mugati.
And in response he said,
yagaruka mati,
"It is written,
kikahandikwa,
not by bread alone shall man live, but by the word that can proceed from the mouth of God."
Omuntu ayomera habwe byokule byonka baita yomera na bakigambo kyonekerugo mukano akamukama ruhanga.
Then the devil took him up into the holy city.
Satani yamutwara harubugo rukwera.
And set him on the pinnacle of the temple. And he said to him, "If you are Son of God, cast yourself down, for it is written, He has given charge of you He to His angels, and you will not hurt yourself." He said to him again, "It has been written, you shall not tempt the Lord your God." And the devil took him up into a very high mountain and told him, he showed him all the kingdoms and the entire glory and the world of glory, and said to him, "All these things I will give you if you just bow down and worship me."
Get
away, Satan, Jesus said. For it has been written, you shall adore the Lord your God, and Him alone, and you shall serve.
Then the
devil left him, and the angels approached and ministered to him. This extract is about the Lent that we have entered in. That Jesus definitely is teaching us that if the devil dared to reach Jesus, then me and you, we are not exceptional.
Ohurangu sitani akamusembera hati yamwerenge kandi ali mwana wa ruhanga itwe tulina kantu.
That's what Jesus wants to teach us. That whether you are big, you are religious, you are whatever, you are going, the devil will dare you one time at one moment or the other.
Oboli munyadini kuingana ha oboli muntu ngukiro kimu sitani alikusembera kandi akuohie.
And the devil is very resilient. The devil is constant.
Alemera homuno. Alemera ansonga.
He uses scripture.
ayekonyeza ne byahandikirwe
You see?
ngo kikahandikwa Augustine
But he's defeated through scripture itself.
Baitu kandi asingurwa kuraba mu byahandikirwe.
So if you are a true Christian, you must know your scripture well.
Borabo li muhonde oli mu Kristo ko oyina kumanya byahandikirwe.
And the devil can use scripture to get what he wants.
Na Satana yekoze byahandikirwe kutunga kyara konyeza.
Then another thing that we see, the devil at this moment, this is what Jesus is teaching you and me. That he makes sure he comes at the very vulnerable moment in your life.
Ngo Yesu akutwegesa Satani aije mukaira ko koli bucheke oba to innocent na kutega obumaso wese ora abano inda bakazi na kutega bakazi
beautiful
ebintu nkeyo Satani byarabamu
n'abasayija na kutega n'abasayija
amukazi na kutega abakazi na atega abasayija so Satani ino bukodyo bwingi obwakurabamu
that he uses everything that he gets you in order to get you again clearly.
Satani yekonyeza obukodyo kwona arola kunagira mukatego ke.
Definitely the devil is real.
Niko gamba Satani alikuwa
we must understand.
Ikitu nakitega Satani alihoko oyango ikiriza.
Then another thing we realize that remember Jesus had just received this my beloved son.
Ejuka henyuma ho tukasanga tu mukama ruhanga gambire
before he goes before he went to the desert experience. He said he hears this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. He's my everything. He is the Lord. And definitely you must listen to him. The devil says, no. I want to make sure I tempt him. I swear that he's truly
the Son of God. Ati enyuma ho atakagenzere mu irungu. Tukahura mukama ruhanga nagamba ono no mwana wange kubatizibwa kwa Yesu.
Ati nibarugirame agenda mu
irungu. Owe nyumiriza muno yagamba mu muhure. Ati ngugo agenzere mu irungu kontebwa Satani.
That when you have been given the biggest task, this task must be tested.
Buli bohewa obusobozi bwa maani ndo mulimo gwa maani obusobozi obwina kulengesebwa.
3 areas, perfect temptation. 3 areas. Jesus gives us 3 areas that is commonly the devil commonly uses to get us. One,
Kristo atuhaire bintu bisatu bichweka bisatu mbere Satani turaba okutuhohya.
Turn these into bread.
Yamugamba hindura binu amabale gano gafoke ebyo kulya.
He touched his power. He knew Jesus definitely has the power to do it.
Satani akamanya nguru Yesu ayino busobozi bwokuhindura amabale gafoke ebyo kulya.
Yes, and he would do it definitely. But the devil has no authority to order him to do it.
Akabana so akora baitu Satani ayino busobozi kuragira mukama ruhanga.
You don't listen to the devil what he's telling you to do.
Otahuliriza Satani byakugamba kora kandi
no. And sometimes we listen and we follow what he's telling us.
Emirundi ekiro bwingi tuhuliriza ntuondera Satani byakutugamba.
So turning stories into food was attacking his power and his authority.
Okumugamba hindura amabale gano gafoke byokulya akaba na lengisanizo obusobozi bwe.
At the same time testing him on the issue of flesh. That the sin of flesh.
Kibi kyomubiri. Kibi kyomubiri.
Pleasures.
Twine bintu bitwegomba ombomezi bwaitu. Ebyo nibyo Satani kutuga nibyo bitukuhindura ebyo. Mabale gali mabale.
Flesh. Pleasures. What are those pleasures that you have? That I have that are contrary to God's
command.
God's command.
Bikebyo wanyumiriza muno byo hura na ugonza muno omugomezi wawe.
The pleasures that you have to deal with.
Yes, ebina kurwanisa ruiru bakazi ogoza muno sente.
The pleasures where the devil has completely chained us.
Mbere munyanzi gwatu boheire omubintu ebyo no lemwa na kaire ka mukama ruhanga.
2 he goes him and shows the temple that you just adore me. and I will give you everything.
Yamutwara na harusure ye karo yagamba ndamya buramya buli kimu kijja kwa kihoyinja
all authority is given to me. You will be so powerful. Can you imagine?
Stana gamba Yesu obusobozi bwona bukampeebwa
ngenda kubukuha ubube buhamani
kukiwa kabi wa mani Stana kubaza.
Can you imagine? He knew he was blind that Jesus was powerful more than him.
Okay, Stana akaba mufuwa maiso bwiro atamanyi obusobozi bwonyine bwa Mukama Yesu.
So the other one is definitely where he's attacking the authority of Jesus. He tells him, "Oh wow, at this moment, you just jump over. You just jump over, and definitely I will do what you will not, because it's written, you will never hit a stone, your foot against a stone. If you said you are the son of God."
Yes, stand alima akumuyehi. Weruga haigura arusowe kasuke hansi Yesu Mukama Ruhanga tekaniza abamalayika ojja kubagwa mu ngaro toja kutera hansi ebigere okabyata.
We have all these are very common to us, and we experience these here and there. Here and there, we experience them, and Jesus tells us that we must stand against the tempter. That's the bottom line.
Kristo akutwegesa ngu tuina kweba manzi okulwanisa omwohi stand.
Now, going into the desert, the desert is not a beautiful place to go.
Omwirungu tikiri kichweka kyokwenyumirizamu nangwa.
A desert is we have put it in a Runyoro very well. Echeya obukija. What does it do?
Ebikora ni emitine yoma ebikora ni byoma
akasorwa ni hoto
akamburu ni kalete chuchu ne imuka ombiteka bya Sudani sangana bantu
na hano
Muhammad.
Yes. Now echeya kiba kirungi muno. Why?
Abake kiya kiba
kiyamuka kasasiro
kisingora kasasiro kyome bitakomere ni hasigare ki echuchu. Now, echeya obwendeza kuchetegereza kurungi. If you want to see the cheya, that dryness, that dry spell, I normally love bomber ground here. What happens? The trees dry completely. It sheds off all the unnecessary what? Leaves. Yes.
And that's the time actually of inner growth of this tree. And the roots, it is, by the way, they tell you, the scientists tell you, it's a time for cheya, for the dryness, that the roots go deeper. Not the leaves, but the roots. The leaves go away. It consolidates itself. And the roots go deeper and deeper into the soil. So it's a time for it to become more firm on the ground.
Ngo mukianda na muno munatweki example kya bomber ground hana alihe mitege osanga eyomere nebikora birugiroho. Yatugamba bakalimagezi bagamba ngu emuti obuguru gwa hebikora hati gwekambire business irimuka niko muti gube mugumu gutakunagwa umuyaga.
When you see in a dry spell, that's where goats become fattened. You get a goat very well in a chair. So there's beautiful things that come up with dry season. So what does all this tell us? That in dry season, this dry spell, this desert experience, when everything's dry, your life is dry. There is something that God is making in you more firmer.
Ango mukianda. Tugende turorere embuzi nibo zinyeta nizinyirira tuzitayisura nizerisa bundi kandi naitwe nka abantu obutuba mukeya keite kitukuraba munko mukisiba ombwire bono nibo kwikiriza kwaitu kuongera kuguma.
In a dry season, that's when we prepare to plant. You don't prepare to plant in rainy season.
Ngo mubwire bwe kyanda nuho tutekanizo obulime emisiri yaitu nuko enjura bwera hinduka tubiyale.
Wow. It's a simple thing that we understand. Kyanda kyomugaso muno. That dry.
Yes.
It's a moment when now these leaves, the unnecessary leaves, the old goes away, and this tree gets fresh. You look at it, then after you see these trees bringing beautiful leaves, and you admire.
Tugambire ngo mukeya emiti ebikora bikuru byona bigabana bikonkomuka hati mpora rure birungi muno nibitandika kusoga obwinjire nayo igaruka.
So this desert experience that we get prepares us to become to be born again, if I can use that one, to be born in newly. If we have the born agains, the born agains would appreciate more that this the time that Jesus again says this is the favorable time for my Christian, for my believers to enter deep down, and this is what I want to talk about more.
Ngo hati omukeya itwe nkabayikiriza noho tufokera abazairwe obuhyaka abatweta born again,
new life,
obomeze buhyaka,
new life is prepared through this.
Obomeze burungi butekanizwa kurabo mukeya.
Now, when you see Jesus going for 40 days, when you see Moses going for 40 days, when you see Elijah going for 40 days, when you see Noah going for 40 days, by the way, another thing, I have said that's when we get the new life. Those science, ba mama baliyo, abantu mukakitegerezaga, obumara kutwara enda bwe pap, otware weeks 40, omwana nebo nazarwa
weeks za 40,
40 days, 40 weeks. A child is born.
Ati ba mama kinu musako mutaka kitegera. Abakali mageze bara wiki yo kubanza ojja kumara wiki na papa
omwana nakuraki
abaire natugambira abasajja nka Musa akagenda kutunga ebiragiro akamara biro 40 na isengereza
Abisirayeli barugayo barubate
emyaka 40 bagamba Noah kumara lyato byali 40 na Yesu kugenda mukisibo biro 40 haliho ensonga bwaki.
Now when something great wants to happen, if you are a person who wants to get something better and greatest in your life, you must have you must prepare enough. You must have enough time to prepare to get into that moment.
Hati abantu twena runo muntu wena baba nagonza kusingura oina kuteeka hakayira akakumara owetekanize rundo wetekanizo businguzi okwenda kwikaho.
Now in desert experience we see, I have said it's not a good place. Many people fear it, and I want to tell you how many the desert experience, how people are fearing it in our times. Because it's the power of silence. There is the power of silence. Because Jesus goes him and him alone with none but thee, my God, in the desert.
Agonza kutoleke amani ago kugenda mwirungu ngo mwirungu hali yakaire ko kwesengezo liwenka noba mukachulero Yesu tukumurwa na waru basire ya rugo mu bantu yagenda mwirungu ayesengereza ali wenka
nuko atunga amani no busobozi ayongera mu busobozi bwo kwijja kujuna ensi tiyako kigenzera kujuna ensi atatungira kayire k'emyaka ebiro 40 nkoko Moses kugenda kujuna Abayisirayeli kikatwara emyaka no kutande tayiri hangere kwenda emyaka 40.
So buli kintu kikurwatira 40 nayo bagambege no bakwenda kuswera omukazi murungi omwogereze kumara ebiro 40.
Very good.
Aho ja kuswera omukazi murungi.
Now the power of silence at this moment. You know, the world these days, we are going to have nuisance people, very hopeless people, stupid people in our head there, because we have gone away from the golden gift that we have, the golden gift of silence, into noise, and this thing is also coming to the church, to the believer, to the churches. Noise everywhere, noise every minute, noise.
Hati kasuma katalika ahara orundo maisoko tugenda kwana bantu entabuganyi habwaki ngutwe haire kwikara mutoko omwitoko wire bwona okwesanga ati no makelezia no makanisa gaitu titwina hakaire kogenda ho kuchulera tukwikara mu bizina byo kuhaisa no kutoka tutagamba a weekend zino rundi weekend tugaruke hansi niko tugamba ruchulero
the perfect ruchulero. You understand? Now you realize that Prophet Elijah went and met God not in chaos but in silence.
omurangi Elijah arunde Eliya kugenda kubaza na mukama kumwitana akaba mukaculero akakuhehera atabo hitoko.
When you see Moses to get that great commissioning, he went in that perfect moment of silence.
Musa kuraba omulimo gwe yahayirwe akagenda mu ruculero wenka. The
religious people to see that they go through this life of especially the Catholics.
Yes.
They always go for not less than 7 days retreat. Silence, complete silence.
Diakoni n'abaseminari batakahindwire kufoka abapadiri n'abasista abanyadini nabone babanzanye babahe biro musangi byo ruculero nuko baitane mukama ubage kuhereza.
Now, when you see that silence, people fear silence.
Abantu batinagenda mu kuculero rundi mu ruculero.
But those I saw that is where I read the 10 points of high-minded people, high successful people. They always have at least every day 30 minutes of silence. Those people who have those moments every day that you can't joke out. If it is a family this way, it's very, you will always see it very successful.
Okay. Aina hengiga kumezi ya somere abantu emuhalizo abakura kuraine ngu aina kubaka at least buli dakika 30 ezo ruculero buli kilo tayoseremu noga buli saha mwenda rundi saha ziti turabaga mu ruculero.
Do we have chaos in our religious denominations? There is no silence. Do we have chaos in our families? There is no silence. The beauty silence is so important, my dear brothers and sisters, that Satan wants to rob us into that so that we become helpless and hopeless.
Tusobora okimanyire ngo obutabanguko obukwijjo makanisa no makelezia gaitu abukwatu twina kaire ko kuculera omaka gaitu twina kaire ko ruculero sitana turabiraho mwitoko yaitu niko tusingule so twina kuteka ho bwire oboruculero.
The English say still waters run deep.
Nga maizi agateka ine gabagai maizi garayiraho oboga gwamo bundo sirimu kano dikira kemo baitugana gakwiruka bundi gabaga haiguru.
There is this man called Bertrand Russell. He says this: a happy life must be to a greater extent a quiet life. For it is only in an atmosphere of silence that true joy can live.
Ngo musaijo ono Bertrand akahandika nagamba ngo okusemerero kukirayo omugomezi bwa obwaitu nikakaire kogenda ho mukaculero ekyo nikiyaga yahandikina kugamba.
Then another one wrote and says the world would be happier if men had the same capacity to be silent that they have to speak.
Ondi handika nagamba kakuba abasaija babaire baculezi batakubazabaza muno
ensi yakubaire
etekaine
kandi ino okusemererwa
n'obusinge bwokubairo.
Just look at our families. When a woman is talking and a man is talking, there's nothing. Because we have to listen to ourselves. Into silence, we listen to ourselves. The power of silence makes us listen to God. The power of silence makes us listen to the environment. The power of silence makes us discover many beautiful things.
Yes, omuhali baina kuba mudomama omwayegeze hazibaitomo agaruke hansi. So atwantu etaga kuba basinguzi tube na mani agokuculera tunga mani gokuculera.
So there's that experience. If we are to be Christians and we have embraced this Lenten season, it is to go into that silent moment every day. Make sure that you have at least 5 minutes somewhere orine kigambo kya mukama kwata bible yawe every 5 minutes read. After reading, take on 5 minutes. At the end of the day uja kwanda tuherobwa kaiso already yen. Every day at least ekitito muno dakikazinga abayi tumanyire 1 full hour.
Abamanyire hawa hati boraba no gonza kugasirwa ekisibo kino iwe yamuhuriza mbero kali tunga hakire dakika 5 borabo tayina bwire bukumara okwate Bible yawe borabo haihi na sakramento rubatagenda sakramento gambira Yesu chulira Yesu akukonyere akurabyemo.
Now, having heard that,
yes,
there are beautiful things that we need to understand from what we call the 5 lessons we can learn as a summary, because we have seen time have gone. 5 lessons that we can learn from the wilderness and desert experience.
Atitu umubugufu tugakora masomo 5 agakusobora kuturabya omukeya keitu.
We conquer our own selves, definitely. We actually bogenda omudato kuchuleira that desert experience.
Yes.
You find yourself that where you have been lost and no garuka
buto uli bogenda mukachulero obomezi wawe bugaruka niko kutugambira oraba iro takwekengo tandika kwekenga
ati ali ebintu bingera nintu bitalibaniza abantu bakuruganga na bakugira bakuruga biki bakora biti omuntu wa ruhanga omuntu ari kugamba ari wa Yesu tasobora kugendo akuba kwezora
akwezora bwangu. Yes, na amanye obuzibu mbere
to go to begin bewitching someone. You are a fool. Toina magezi
kugenda kurugo omuntu oli mudoma ko ukagenda mbafumu kuleta imbazi oli mudoma ko iwe gambira Yesu ebyawe na mutahi wawe bikutalibani.
Just go into that silence, that moment of silence. Oja kwezore kizibu kirinka
indukire kisiko gambira
omuntu nagenda natwara embuzi manya natwara manya bikina
kuba ine mukonyera kusasura school fees na himba natwalira mufomo mukama tugire mbabazi.
We are sorry maybe kutokozese bigano bisongwire oli wa Yesu no ure bintu ebyo tosobora kuba wa Yesu tosobora kuba wa Yesu at the same time woha oina akagambo ina koma home ole kondi. So now I'm sorry to use that language that word, but it's to make us chikutahire mukama na chikugambira to kwetegereza obukuru bwaki bwekisibo, the power
of this season
kangambire kambagambira abahuriza abarungi omusa nagamba yes omuntu bakugamba oli mudoma. It's not that kiri kijugo omujungo bomugamba oli mudoma akukaguza where am I wrong obudoma bulinka nyegesa but omwafiri ko mugamba oli mudoma
akuhimba oruhina arukutera but akuhawize benisisire
nitoboneza omujungu. So what does it mean? Bantu ba mukama nyowe ekisiba kinyakagenda muga otusibira ebintu bigi not necessarily ebintu kintu kya lent tugire ebisibo no sibira kintu
kana kino nakiri
kigendamu for 3 days hari ekisibo kigenda for 9 days 8 days whatever but from my experiences ebisibo byakagenda muga umba ningonze kintu kandi kiri cyamana mukama na kirora kiri cyamananu ekyamananu haro byogena no sibira bitari byamananu. I only go the first day, second day matungire obusigenda muno genda cyakana nibatungire ki tusobora kugenda mu kisibo ekisibo ko mari mukame cyasimire ikiri cyamananu no hike kiro cyakantaka tungire ki cyo kwenda
mu biro bisatu obutungire
cyo kwenda hati nkutandika nitwara manyembuzi mwananka
akagirya manya rwabudongo manya roha ebituke kandi mukama ruhangalo
manya nkwenda nanka kwenda omusayija angonze notwara ye nkoko nebindi
garuka wa Yesu garuka akisika
ariho omwisiki agenzere yatwara mkwenda omusajja wanga ngonze kiraho obu yagenzere yamuteka ebuli omunanka yabitwarira omanyo mufumu kwika yo mufumu yakumuhereza yamuherizo omusajja we yaba mudomo complete
ya domera kimu yagwiraro
so tokuro
ata amudomeze kimu ati ngo kabani ndaba mudomye nuko akudomye ya domera kimu.
Whatever the case. 5 lessons we can learn from wilderness experience. One, we have to know that definitely, as we have said, wilderness or desert experience is not something beautiful. It's where people don't want to be in that moment of silence with none, isolating yourself. By the way, before we go any further, I don't say you know by Tananka Bill Gates. Uba kugamba every year agenda mirundi ebiri na agenda in somewhere in an island where he's honored by himself, not even the wife, no cell phone, no whatever. nichorozire
Akozere
akora
bintu
ebintu by'amaani
akozere bintu
abakakensa bamaani muno bamanyire obukuru bw'okuculeera nibaruga nambere bakali narekaho omukazi we narekaho n'abaana
n'abanywanyi nabo Ruganda nabeharaga bakunywa nabo n'abarugaho
abasajja b'amaani muno aba gavumenti abora ne bananka
tuhura ngo kyankwansi bagendaho mu ruterera
his excellence akategereza yagamba
bantu
there is withdraw it's supposed to be withdraw so naitwe bora tukonde tuteka amaka gaitu kugenda kurungi tubona akaira gukora ki
okuculeera
genda kwata omusajja wawe omukazi wawe mugende mwa Yesu 1 hour in a week you will come to
musakurgo mukicweka ni mugendaho Emmaus hano bwaraba na bikubatalibaniriza
okay we go ahead now one that after a new revelation a new test will always follow buri botunga kirungi cyo genda mukama kwereza kirungi kwendo utunga musajja ndo utunga mukazi you are going to always you will find a test which is going to come to test that
kandi ujakiraba
tuya kukirora nkakutubalize you are my beloved son Yesu mukama ruhanga amaze kugamba you are my beloved son the devil had to come in you must prove that
is it true mwana wa ruhanga
buri botunga revelation mbomezi bwa urune kikoto muno omunyanzi kwa paka gitaba kutoraki kujamo very business mukama yakuhaire gukora investment omunyanzi kwa paka testing
kujamo akutesting ngorarabaho orabisobora ajya kujya
banagamba obugore omunyanzi kwa agenda kutahira
ajya kuleta bire bikoto
whenever you have a new revelation a revelation whatever you want to do the devil must always appear to test you
buri boba no yini
number 2 great problems will always follow after great victories great problems often follow great victories obusinguzo bw'amaano bw'okaho mu bwomezi bwawe niho
no munyanzi gwa
great problems
nebizibu no bizira ebikwawukana
omaze okora ki kusingura ebize ebindi nibikora ki
nibijja kutabangura nogamba ndabira babubita
let us see where we are you know, it is to help us go through our life successfully that after for example when you look at Moses crossing the Red Sea Moses with the
Israelites
after that victory that was not enough they have to go through that desert for 40 years after victory challenges are going to come so don't say that I have already ndabiremu ndi okay
ngumazire kuteranizibwa omusayija ono ati wange leka
mazire kutunga office
mazire leka obusinguzo bwekero baitu hate bijja kuongera
wetegereze we olinde ki ebizibu genda kukola ki and prepare for them
byetekanirize
okyetegereze after the dance of victory we now see that bitter and complaining of Israelites come in the challenges that come in
abana bayisema ziri kwambuka enyange rukutukura dore byabayikiro bikaba bingi ebikubasomozo bomezi bwa
then testing comes after resting you see also
mara kuhumura ati no tungo kulengesebwa kwa mani no
when we turn our faces to Christ in the midst of pain and impossibility Christ-like character is formed within us obu twijja hayina Yesu nawe koraki now when testing comes okay testing comes before resting utakagenzere kukora ki
kuhumura ebirengeso bijja
ekyo nakyo kiruho ekyo nabyo biruho mbomezi bwa tukyetegereze kigamba nti mpumwire genda kuhumura takarabire muki
mu birengeso obanza kuraba mu birengeso ubono humura
for example children who are in school you don't go to victory before you pass what
the test
you must pass through the test first to get into the victory
abana ba masomero ubanza nurabe birengeso nibono genda kuhumura
so no bomezi bwaitu ujya kusanga still nibubata butyo
birengeso businguzi when
you have finished one the other you always prepare for the other just like when we have a desert we always have
and then rain
exactly and when the rain is over you must prepare
for the desert
the other one
bikale bigarukangana
that's what God is preparing us to number 4 In the midst of our difficulties, God designs tests that teach us his ways.
Hagati y'okusoomozebwa kwaitu Ruhanga ateekanizaho amasomo g'okutwegesa. Nibyo birahe byatwegesa.
Let us give this example. The Israelites had made 3 days trek into the wilderness when they ran out of water.
Ng'ekyokurora Abaisirairi bamazire kucwanganiza bakatunga obuzi bw'amaizi. Bainiroho ebisoro biniroho batontoroma
mukama yabaga kutontoroma kuwa nyumanya ya God aya ninyo musobozi wa byuna kambole
kyo
yagenda haruki yagambira Moses amaizi ngano nambira babere batakora
batakunihira
gazo God is in charge. Even the water which was given we hear that they were what? They were mara, they were bitter water.
Akaba amaizi gakusara
mukama kagonza begese through that bitterness obomezi bwabo amaize gakorekyo obomezi bonti bali bitter. They should never be bitter before God. Knowing that why he has picked them, he brings them for them to do what? To trust him.
Bakanywa amaizi gakusara nuko abegese ngo bakwemurugunya bomezi bw'abantu buli bw'okwemurugunya sakenda kuoli cyangwa ali musobozi wa byona nasobora byona.
So we realize that the Israelites complained to Moses and not to God.
Abana ba Israeli bakajuma Moses rundi bakemurugunya hari Moses.
Then the same God that can handle the Red Sea, bakebwa
ruhango
that he would make sure that he gets them through the desert and the drought.
Abana bano bayisere bakebwa ngo mukamora yabambire nyange rukutukura niwo makabaina kuwarabyo mu irungu akabaye cyari bagenda.
They forgot that God can take them from bitter waters into the sweetest moments. Bamazira kutaha kurungi
bakebwa ngo mukamono ayabahaira amaizi go kunywa akabana saku barabyamo akabana amaizi amarungi muno bakanywa.
Now the last one, we can shorten the wilderness by allowing God's purpose to be fulfilled in it. That's beautiful. Let me repeat it. We can shorten the wilderness by allowing God's purpose to be fulfilled in it.
Nitwikiriza okugonza kwa Ruhanga kwikirire omulitwe nundo muri mukisibo kakene.
Remember, although we see the wilderness as the outside circumstances around us, the worst wilderness is the wilderness within us.
Ekeye kikirayo bubi nike kiye kiro mulitwo omunda ekyo kikamu.
That's why we go deeper to see ourselves.
Nikyo tutaho munda twechubitize twezore.
For example, bitterness is within.
Obubi
you become bitter and you ruin yourself. You get involved into other things because you want it for yourself. The summary is the summary of this one, that after a new revelation, a new test will often follow.
Omukumalira buli abo banoraba mukusukurwa ekigeze kindi
kitaho mukamu kusukura ikintu cyo kugenda kuhikira lazima ebirengeso bijya kwijya. Point ya kabiri, great problems always follow great victories. Obumara obusinguzi uhajja kubaho ki ebizibu bya bani bikoraki
bijja kuonderaho.
Mukama nja kutwegesa. Eyakasatu, testing comes before resting.
Ngo okulengesebwa kwira otaka humwira.
Urundo taka humuzibwe paka yakora mu birengeso by'amani
nkugambira
akakana. In the midst of our difficulties, God designs tests that teach us his ways.
Ngo hagati yo kulemerwa kwaitu Ruhanga atwegesa
ebirengeso kutwegesa ki emihanda ye wenko kwakora omulito nkokasingura omulito yo kumalira. We can shorten the wilderness by allowing God's purpose to be fulfilled in it.
Ngo bisora
kukeya
kianda aronde keya nitwikiriza mukama
we wenka ayikirize byagonza okwikira obwomezi bwaitu. This being the case, I want to thank you, my dear listeners, what for God has revealed to us this evening.
Yes.
I want to pray for you that God may get us through our challenges as we go through this desert experience. Let us meet the Lord. Have that moment of resilience, saying, I want to be better than yesterday, better than the other day. God bless you.
Webale munamoti habo kwegesa kurunkanire twegere mulingo twaba omukisibo kino tutasobeze kandi tugaruke hahina mukama. Webale munamota hatajya kutusabira niko tumale kurungi wiki tugitandike kurungi.
Mwibara lishitwe neryo mwana lya moyo mwikirire.
Amen.
Isitwe mbabazi nyingi muno twayira kasumi kana kembaganiza kenema nemigisa okutuwitura okutugarra buyaka okutuyimukyo mu moyo kandi ako kusingora ebitasemira mu bwomezi bwaitu turi bana bawe mukama tuheneme okwikiriza kyogonza kano kurira kalyawe mukasumi kano mukama ninkusaba mukama kasumi kano herezo mugisa bahuririza abaredi yenu abarungi na mbere bakalibona mukama nabo obakonyero kurabamo kurungi mu bye bakuraba mu byobomezi bwabo haro kufero haro kuburwa abana haro kusadaki banebindi byona mukama balinde okusingorerwa kuno mukama kure kubahikaho kandi bisigayire byona mukama bibasibirire nuko bahikirize mukama bahereze mu mugisa kandi bihikire kurungi abo urungi bakitinisa cyibara ryawe ebyona tubisabe ntro mu Kristo mukama waitu mukama be nayinwe ruhango mushobozi wa byona isitwe mwana mwe muhikirire abahe omugisa
amina mugorobe murale kurungi nywena.
Bunyoro Broadcasting Service, BBS. For people who think different. BBS.